It is my pleasure this morning to introduce Chris Fuller, who's the featured speaker. He is the Senior Associate Athletic Director for External Operations. Not quite sure what that means, but I'll do my best to explain it. We worked very closely with Chris during this project, helping him and the Ball for Life film staff move the studio from concept to reality. And Chris spearheaded this effort. Great leadership from Chris. He was involved in the fundraising, the design, and the construction aspects of the project. And while when he comes up, you will see that he has a gentle side to him. He can also be a 400-pound gorilla when he needs to be. A sense of humor that I still can't read. In his role, he oversees the Tennessee Fund, the Ball for Life Films and Broadcasting, the Ball Network Partnership, marketing, and ticket sales. He's been with the Ball since 2004, and he brought a diverse background from the sports industry to Tennessee. Came to Knoxville from Cleveland, Ohio. We'll forgive him for that. Where he was a vice president with the Cleveland Cavaliers organization. Prior to that, he spent time in the private sector working for an internet startup specializing in college websites. Also spent 4 years with ACC Properties. He started his career in sports at the University of North Carolina Athletic Department, working in marketing. He received his bachelor's degree in political science from Shepherd University and his master's in sports administration from West Virginia. I don't know who writes this stuff, but it's dry. It doesn't come close to describing Chris Fuller. Chris is an intense leader, very intense, very focused, high energy guy. I mentioned his sense of humor. I'm sure you'll get that whenever he comes up here to speak. But it's been a real pleasure working with him. And we hope we have the opportunity to do so again. So please join me in welcoming a fabulous client and a really good friend, Chris Bullard.
Thank you, Lanny. That was warm and generous, and I'm most appreciative of the fact that according to your introduction, I've lost about 400 pounds. Before we get started, I would love and think it's appropriate, would love to take a brief moment of silence for the folks that lost their lives in Chattanooga yesterday and were injured. So if you join me briefly. Thank you, thank you. It's great to have you guys here. Welcome to the Ray and Lucy Hand Digital Studio. It's great to see Lanny and Jeff and Nathan and Peter and all these guys. I've missed seeing you. I hope you guys feel the same. You know, this was really a labor of love for us, and while I think everybody knows about the SEC Network, and we'll touch base today on that, the vision for this started long before the SEC Network was even in people's minds, the vision lived in the heads and hearts of guys like Barry Rice and Link Hudson and guys who had gone before them. Really, the SEC Network was the catalyst that helped us drive the vision, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But what I want to talk to you guys about today, really 3 or 4 things. A little bit about the project itself, a little bit about the storytelling tradition in Tennessee, which has been rich and powerful over the years. We'll talk about the launch of the SEC Network, and then to try to wrap it up, I'll talk a little bit about how I feel this facility will impact us not only now and has, but going forward. And before I get to all that, I want to most specifically thank my beautiful wife, Lori, and the Knoxville Area Chamber Partnership for being so gracious to let us host you today. The project, wow. I want to commend first that this, like I said, this project had lived in our minds, and the space you guys are standing in right now, believe it or not, for the first 6 years of this building's existence was a warehouse. And I think seemingly every architect in town had a chance to design it for something at one point in time. But we didn't move on any of those projects. So this beautiful piece of real estate, which is really the front porch of our athletic department, was a warehouse. And I say that literally. So when we started looking at this, it really took Dave Hart's vision and leadership. When we sat down and talked about this the first time, to his credit, you know, I think in the past I've told people it took Dave about 3 minutes to buy into this vision. The reality is it took less than that. He got it right away. He had been part of creating studios in the past at Florida State and Alabama. So as we go through this project too, this is really important. I usually don't use notes, and it's been that kind of week, so I knew I was going to have to be a little bit less spontaneous than I'd like, so I enlisted the unparalleled help of the VFL film staff to entertain you. And in the old words, a picture says 1,000 words. In my case, it's probably worth at least 2,000. So we'll thank those guys afterwards for the work they've done on the AV. So Dave shared our vision. He turned us loose. He empowered us to pursue this project. The SEC network did serve as a catalyst. We were able to use the launch of that network to create some urgency around this project, and that we did. We met in this very space while it was still a warehouse, interestingly enough, in the spring of 2013. Those of us who participated in that meeting climbed over boxes and crates and Coca-Cola products and statues of Peyton and Condridge, one of which had seen better days, and we met around the table symbolically because we knew we were working on a canvas that was going to change radically in a short period of time. We enlisted the help of a consultant, Anthony James Partners, which helped us a great deal, I think, with the visioning aspect of what we wanted this to be. We wanted this to be more than just an operational space, more than just offices and edit suites. We wanted to be conscious that this was going to be our front porch, and when people walk into our athletic venue, particularly prospective student athletes, we wanted to get that wow moment. And we wanted to impact them. And frankly, you guys see the image we chose not accidentally for this main board of all of our student athletes. We are a very student athlete driven athletic department. One of the cool things about this space when we're entertaining prospective student athletes by design is with the click of a button, this space and the space in the north can be tailored to any of our sports. And you know, that's a really cool thing. If you're coming in here as a prospective soccer athlete or a swimmer or something like that, you want to feel like your sport's every bit as big a priority as all the others, and we have the ability to do that in a very tailored and customized and unique way. So, we had this grand dream, and we didn't have any money. In April 2013, we had not raised a dime for this project, but we knew what we wanted to do. And as you guys know, as business leaders in Knoxville, you need folks to buy into your vision to make it happen. We were incredibly fortunate that Ray and Lucy hand bought into our vision. We could not have found a better partner, and we've continued to honor that relationship in some pretty unique ways. You'll see behind me as we go through this, you'll see some images of the production control room and some of these other unique spaces that we have. I don't know if Ray and Lucy really know this, but every production we do, we have a couple buckets in our system. One bucket has sort of corporate elements, and one bucket has sort of promotional elements. And our producers mix these into live broadcasts and all those kind of things and video board shows. Well, one of those buckets is named Ray, and one of those buckets is named Lucy. I don't know that they know how many times we use the phrase roll Ray during a production. Not sure he'd love it, but we try to honor their generosity and every time we produce an event, because it just simply would not have happened without them. Also, I'd like to acknowledge the Tennessee Fund staff, because that staff, led by Greg Hewlin, has very humbly had the best 2-year fundraising history and fundraising track in the history of our athletics program, which is a pretty big statement. And without that whole staff, we wouldn't have been able to bring this to reality as quickly as we did. I know Nathan and Peter, Lanny, all of you guys have talked a little bit already about the partners that participate in this project, but I want to talk about it for a minute because I think it bears repeating. And I want to, Kevin Zerker and Mike Cade, I didn't see those guys, I don't know if they're here, but those guys really helped us. Kevin on our athletic department staff, Mike Cade, university staff architect, my opinion, helped us put together a dream team for this project. And if you knew, and we learned how much we didn't know on the way to completion. And when you don't know all the technology things, and yet some lunatic at the podium has set a totally unrealistic deadline for completion, it can make for an interesting ride. And if we had not been partnered with the people we were on this project, it gives me great trepidation to think about where we would be today. I feel like we would probably be hosting a partner event at a very different location. So I want to acknowledge those guys again, and Rouse Construction, as well as the lead contractor in the project. Mike Berger and Tim Mendenhall from the university IT staff, who have spent countless hours here making it work. And another person we haven't acknowledged a lot, but he's certainly important to the university and to us, Charlie Ergen's company, Use Integration, was the company that actually made sure that all the wires were connected in the right place. And if you ever get a chance to go back in the production control room or the operations center and pull up a piece of the floor, you'll understand that that's space I don't want to be in. So we had a dream team of folks, and I can't thank you guys enough for making this a reality. Several pieces to this. You won't see them all, but you'll see them visually. In addition to this space, and the physical space obviously made this special, a lot of our peers that are building operations centers for broadcasting are building them underneath the bleachers of venues and whatever cubby holes they can find in their physical plants. Well, we had this beautiful front porch piece of real estate with high ceilings and windows on the world, and not only did we have one of these locations, we had two. And so we consciously decided to split the studio. The space you're in right now, the south, is really the operations center. It's all of our offices, all of our edit suites, all of our high-tech equipment, and maybe what I'm most proud of, the Rice Hudson production control room. For those of you that know, that's specifically named for Barry Rice and Link Hudson. I'm very grateful that they're both still current employees. And we had to get special dispensation to name a space after current employees, and I'm very grateful for Chancellor Cheeks. Very much like Dave, I think Chancellor Cheek took about 16 seconds to approve that very unusual request, which gives you a little idea about how high a regard those guys are held in here. So the Rice Hudson production control room in this space right behind me, which is fibered to 13 athletic venues. So from that one space, we can produce live events from 13 athletic venues, and we can also produce the video board shows from those venues where necessary and appropriate. So that's the brains of the operation. And I'm looking around the room because I'm trying to find the next generous person who's going to help me fund the secondary control room up in front. But we'll talk about that later. Lock the doors in the back. But we do have plans to build out a secondary control room, really to allow us to be able to do multiple events simultaneously. And the biggest pressure point for me is with our baseball and softball teams in the spring, which deserve our coverage and attention. Obviously, we expect our softball team to bring home a national championship soon. I know they're not here, so I can put that kind of pressure on them. All of this, the other area I did know, and there's a couple people in this room I'd really like to get in that space. We also have a Bureau Cam room that is live all the time. So you go in, sit down, there's a camera, there's a mic, and it goes right to Bristol and right to Charlotte. So I tell very few people have a key to that room for obvious reasons. If you're having a bad day, it's not a good place to go. You will be live in front of 70 million people. So that's a space too that was part of our project. Let me talk for a minute about the storytelling tradition in Tennessee, because this impacted me immediately when I got to Tennessee. And when I say immediately, I mean immediately in 2004. I had been at other places, as Lanny mentioned. I had been in the NBA. I had been in the television building where we produced content all day. I had never been around people that were as talented as the ones we created at Tennessee. And I think that tracks all the way back historically to Jen O'Neiland and Lindsey Nelson forming the Ball Network years and years ago, and all the people that came after. You know, I talk a lot about Lindsey, about Ernie Robertson and George Mooney, a lot about Bill Anderson, a lot about Edwin Huster Sr. and Jr., Bobby Denton, John Ward. We as a group carry that pride. You know, I get choked up talking about them because they were leaders. They were leaders in this space first. We've challenged ourselves to be leaders again, to be leaders moving forward. And this space and this project was a big part of that. When I look out at the landscape now, and I'll touch on this a little bit later, look at the people that have come through this program now that are prominent in broadcasting. Charles Davis, who we were blessed with his presence recently, Kara Lawson, Mike Keith, the list goes on. All started here, all started in Tennessee around these sort of Mount Rushmore figures. So Robin mentioned the learning laboratory. Absolutely, we've got a responsibility not only to make sure that our current VFL films and our storytellers are becoming masters. We have an obligation to teach the next generation, and we take that really seriously. So we're going to use this space to lead and innovate, no question. With that, I want to introduce a special guest because I want to really drive this point home. We have a guest here today. She's a native of Jackson, Tennessee. She earned both her undergraduate and graduate degrees from the University of Tennessee, one in 2013, one in 2015. While she was doing that, she came here as a junior and volunteered to help us out with VFL Films. And she became one of the very prominent faces of our program, the star of our National Signing Day coverage. I'm really proud now to say that she's joined Channel 8 here in town, WVLT, the flagship of the Vols, as a sports anchor and a reporter. And I want Sarah Mitchell to come forward and talk to you a little bit about her experience, because this is really at the very core of what we're about at the university. Sarah.
Good morning to everyone. I'm so excited to be here because this is my home. You know, I moved just a little bit down the road to Channel 8, but when I think about where I first got my start and the first steps in my career, it begins here. Actually, it began across the street in the old studio and the old offices, but this is home, so I'm really excited to look around and see all the orange and power tees because it's really exciting. Like Chris said, I was fortunate enough to grow up a Tennessee Vol fan. My dad is an alum of Tennessee, and I knew that this is where I wanted to go to college. Without a doubt, this is where I had to be. Thankfully, that happened, and I ended up volunteering. I first met Link Hudson, who would end up becoming my boss and my mentor, and much like a father figure to me while I was in Knoxville. I met him at the old office and he said, sure, you can start on baseball. It was baseball season. I think my very first streaming at the time, we were online streaming, it might have been somewhere around the range of 32 to 35 degrees outside. My hands were freezing cold. You know, my nose was running. Everything that could have gone wrong probably went wrong. But that was the start. And that was one thing that I still remember now because it was those memories and those things that kind of launched where I am now, which hopefully has come a long way. After my undergrad, I ended up coming back to get my master's and had the privilege and the opportunity to work with VFL Films and a fantastic crew here at Tennessee. I was fortunate enough to be the ball reporter, and like Chris said, one of my most fond memories of Tennessee was hosting National Signing Day. And there was a clear, distinct progression between each year that I hosted National Signing Day. The first year, we were streamed online, just like this past year. But then this previous February, we were up in the studio. I had guests throughout the day, so that was a tremendous opportunity, really, really fun experience. On the student side of it, I'll tell you, it was a 5-hour live show. Now, a 5-hour show begins probably 4 hours before the kickoff of the show, so it made for quite a long day, but in television production and broadcasting, that's pretty normal. So that was a tremendous opportunity for me. For students, it gives us hands-on experience. Here at the Ray and Lucy Hand Digital Studio, we have obviously technology and the equipment and really the resources and just the opportunity to grow and to be professionals that we want to be. And I think that that's one thing that I could see as a student and then eventually working for VFL Films. I could see the vision of where I wanted to be, and it became very clear that I could get there. And so for that, I say thank you to each of you for allowing students and allowing me specifically this opportunity because quite frankly, it's just fun. I don't consider this work because I enjoy each and every moment. Now there are some hard moments and some difficult tasks ahead, but overall it is just phenomenal. I will tell you, there's one memory that I distinctly remember. We were at the old office. I sat down with Coach Johnny Majors and we were just talking back and forth about football and lingo and whatnot, and he said, Sarah, never use the word unbelievable, because if it happened, it's believable. But I have to tell you, being here and even coming back just a month or so after I have moved on from VFL Films, I think this is unbelievable. I walk through the control room, I look out here. I remember an interview that Chris Fuller and I did right on the other side of this video board, and there was nothing here. It was just the skeleton of what the studio would be, and we said, you know, this is really an unbelievable project. And so I go back to that word unbelievable, and that really is what it is. So thank you on behalf of students, on behalf of the staff and the crew here at VFL Films. It really is an unbelievable launching pad, so thank you for allowing me the opportunity and for students and future students to have that career launch. So thank you.
Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. And what I hope, you know, we have 40 students working with us in our first year. We'll have more than that in the second year. By the third, fourth year of operation, I think we'll have over 100 students that will work in this space. So, and I hope those that choose to pursue careers the way that Sarah has have the same type of success that I'm sure she's going to have. So it makes us proud to know that we've got former students going out and doing tremendous things in the space. Let's talk for a minute about the launch of the SEC Network. Pretty amazing. It went live on August 14, 2014. All the time, all the preparation, all that, and it went live to almost 70 million homes at launch. To put that in perspective, that would mean it was the most successful launch of a cable network in the history of this country, including CNN. I don't know what that says about our country, but, but it's good to be in the SEC. To put it in comparison again, when the Big Ten Network, which was absolutely a trailblazing move and one that I applaud and commend, they went live, obviously have a lot more graduates, a lot more alumni than we do bigger markets. They went live to about 25 million homes, just as a comparison point. So, And I remember vividly that first fall when they were launched, there were a lot of battles about how come I can't see my game. So 70 million homes at launch, absolutely incredible, beyond our expectations. There are two platforms of note. One, most obviously, is the SEC network, and I'll use the word linear, the linear channel, which you see on your TV. The other platform is called SEC Network Plus, a digital platform. The goal of the network in year one, all the schools, everybody, was to produce 1,000 live events in year one. Pretty ambitious. We have cleared 1,500 events collectively among 14 schools without quite getting to the end of that first year. So I think in terms of volume and production quality, remarkably successful. To give you a couple stats, soccer and volleyball events available on national television in the SEC have increased by 500% in 1 year. Softball coverage has increased by 300% in 1 year. Really exciting, the exposure it creates for a lot of our sports and our athletes. Here at Tennessee, we took a walk before we run approach. We produced 37 SEC Network Plus events, and to put it in perspective, when we produce those digital events now, they're 5-camera productions, broadcast, color, analyst, play-by-play person, graphics, a 20-person staff every time we produce one of those events. We've got an unbelievable staff here. That venture has been led by Tom Githens on our staff. We have to literally put Tom and some of our other folks in a bubble whenever ESPN's here so they don't take them with them. We're playing defense because our folks have proven to be so talented and dedicated. We also produced, and this speaks to that, ESPN came back to us and asked us to produce a number of events for their linear network in the first year, which it speaks a little bit to the confidence that we have in our capabilities. Again, because of our folks and because of this place, I'm going to say it was in the neighborhood of 10 events that we produced linearly, including all 6 of the NCAA softball games when we hosted the regional. So we will be doing more than that. One of our goals with this space was we wanted to be able to tell ESPN, hey, you don't need to bring a truck here. We'll just fly in your talent, we'll take care of the rest. And that's really what we're about the business of doing. We'll be doing that in basketball, men's and women's soon. And so this space will not just be a place where we can produce, it's going to be a place where we're going to be able to start to generate revenue and offset revenue so we can continue to fund this storytelling tradition. Really a point of pride. Couple other things that we did in this space that I was really proud of in the first year. In this very area, we hosted NCAA selection shows for both the Lady Ball basketball team and our softball team. The softball team was a particularly interesting deal because we had to rally our crew at Sunday night to do that. And it was a really neat exposure for us and for the studio. Impact on the University of Tennessee, what does this all mean? Couple things. At a baseline level, from a capability standpoint, it means that we're going to lead again in the storytelling space. And the most recent example, and there's a reason we use the photo that's up on the big board to my right, the most recent example was the introduction of our transition to the Nike relationship. If any of you were able or in a place to watch the online production of the show we called Swoosh, Charles Davis, Maria Taylor came in to host that event for us. When we first threw that idea out to the folks at Nike, they kind of looked at us sideways. They thought, you're going to do what? And you're going to produce your own show. Should we be afraid of that? Well, I think we proved to a lot of their folks, national folks that were here that day, that we absolutely had the capability to do it. And we had the capability to produce it at a network level. This is not going to be the most humble of comments I'm going to make, but I hope when I say it, you understand that I'm speaking more for my staff, because I don't have a clue how to operate any of this stuff. I'm not really sure why they keep me around. I think it's to pay for it. But I don't think when we produced that show on July 1st, there was another school in the country that was capable of producing that caliber of show. Now, the way this industry works, within 12 months, I bet there'll be 10 schools in our league that can. But we're going to continue to try to stay out in front of them. A couple interesting stats from that day. Over 200,000 people watched that show online. That's a pretty big number online. We have since replayed that show with our partner WBLT. We've since replayed that show on the SEC network to over 70 million homes. So, pretty cool. And coolest part for me was seeing our students participate in that process. If you guys had a chance to see our students walking down the runway, the only thing more fun than seeing them walk down the runway was talking to them in the green room in the nervous moments before. I reminded several of them, don't worry, it's only live television and you're only in front of 70 million. It's not a problem. Jake Blankenship in particular was a little unraveled by that. But couple stats on that day that are just interesting to me. Our Twitter reach on July 1st was over 47 million that day. Our Facebook reach was over 7 million that day, also pretty big numbers. Our online store in a period of 12 hours sold $150,000 worth of Nike merchandise. And as a point of comparison, I only say this to speak to the strength of our brand and our fan support and our people. That $150,000, we had 3 months last year, 3 entire months where we sold $150,000 worth of product in our online store. And they were leading up to Christmas, October, November, December. That's what happened in 12 hours that day. Same thing down at Gate 20 store. The Gate 20 store did $46,000, all Nike product, that's all they stocked. At their grand opening, they sold $7,000 worth of product. So, gives you an idea not only of the power of the message, but the unbelievable power of our fan base and their support. So, impact on the university. Our live production capabilities have improved exponentially. We're still scratching the surface of what we can do here. Educational. I mentioned it already, the number of students that are going to have an opportunity to learn broadcasting at this level, to learn content creation at this level, the relationship we'll have with the College of Communications because we can train people to step right out into big-time jobs. So this completely dovetails with the educational mission of the University of Tennessee, which is important to us. You know, I want to make the old storytellers of Tennessee proud. If you guys saw the images on the back of the board, that's not accidental. We're reminded of Lindsay and John Ward and Bobby Denton and all the others. We've got a responsibility and we intend to live up to it. So we're going to get about the business of making those guys proud, of leading, innovating, and blazing the next trail, and broadcasting, content creation, and telling the stories of our student athletes and coaches. And that's really at the core of what this is about. And with that, I'd be more than happy to address any questions. I know we've taken up a good amount of your time on a Friday morning. Want to stay and for a moment, though, and thank you again for taking the time to be with us. So,
any questions?
Even better.
When you say you're connected to 13
Yeah.
facilities, that's all of our?
It is. We, you know, in the past, it was a big production if we had the cable, say the soccer facility, to do a television production. Now we go in there, we plug in our cameras, and we shoot. And it's, these guys can tell you, these guys move mountains. All the folks that were involved in that aspect of the project moved mountains to make that happen. I should say move mountains, I guess you moved in the other direction. I know we moved under railroads. So, yeah, it's just, it gives us a plug and play ability that we really didn't have before.
We're talking swim, soccer,
Every tennis,
That's awesome.
yeah, every athletic venue that we may do a live production from, we're equipped to do it.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Chris. That was fantastic. And to take a couple of points from what he said, it is pretty cool, and it is a point of pride. And congrats to everyone who put this together. Thanks to Coe and McCarty, Wholesale McCarty, for hosting us today. Thank you to the university, and thank you again, Chris, for your comments. It's fantastic. It's great to see our premier partners. Thank you. Have a great day.